Yo, what's up? How you doing? So in the last video we built our API. So in this video we are going to be setting up our application, and also going to be installing Getx and everything possible that we need. So let's just get started. So first thing I want to do is open up a terminal, and I want to set into my documents, so where I want to create a project. All right, then I'm going to just do basically the Flutter create to do app. All right, so before that, what I want to do is I just remembered I want to sit into my YouTube, and I want to see oh sorry, I was doing the list. I want to see the list of what I have, so I want to check. All right, so I don't have my to do, so I'm going to just do Flutter create to do app. So you can name your to do app anything you want to name it. So I'm just going to name it this. All right, so if you don't have Flutter installed, basically you can head over to get started here. Head over to get started, then you can go ahead and pick your operating system. If it's Mac, click on Mac. Windows, click on Windows. Download the Flutter SDK and set the environment variable. Alright, so once this has installed already, we can basically just sit into to do app, or you can go ahead and open this in our Visual Studio Code. Alright, so this is opened already, and once this is open now, what I want to do is I'm going to open up my emulator. So I'm using the audio player emulator, right? So let's wait for this emulator to finish loading. Alright, so my emulator has finished setting out, so I'm just going to open the main.dat, and yeah, so we have our sample code here. So I'm just going to run this sample code. Oh, you know what, let's not run it, let's just refactor everything and ASAP. So I'm just going to delete all this, and I'm going to basically clear all this also. Okay, my system is acting a little bit slow, but you know, we can just move through it. And I'm going to call this to do app, and I'm going to create a file. So our folder structure is going to be MVC because we're using Getx. So I'm going to do model views controller. All right, so we're going to have a file called model views controller. Then in these views here, we're going to in these views here, we're going to have home.dat. So this home.dat, basically we can have a stateless widget. All right, so basically once I want to start designing this, I'm going to just speed code, you understand, because basically what we are focusing on is using it with our Laravel API, not the designing part. All right, good. So I'm going to import Flutter, then I'm going to import material.dat, and here I can have a scaffold. All right, then right here I can basically just delete this and import home page. Let's see if I can have that. No. So what I'm going to do is import package, and our app to do app, then views, then we're going to just select home.dat. All right, then make this constant. All right, so what we're going to do is just run our application. All right, so our app has finally run. What I'm going to do now is just start designing it, and I'm going to speed code everything. All right, so stay glued. Alright, so we are done with the design. So what we want to go ahead and do is start installing our package. So the first package we're going to install is Getx. Basically, it's even going, I think it's going to be the last package we install also. So basically we want to, we need to install HTTP also. Sorry, we're going to install Get and HTTP. So Shift P, that dependency HTTP, and and basically that is the only thing we're going to install. Let's wait for them to finish up. Alright, so once that is done now, and basically let's just start by creating a controller. The first controller I want to create is basically going to be called to the to-do controller, obviously. So we're going to call it to-do controller.dat. And let's take a look at some basics of Getx. So I'm going to do class to-do controller extends. So we're going to extend the Getx controller. Alright, so while at this, let's go ahead and import the Getx controller from get package. Make sure you import get package. Alright, so what I want to do is let's basically have let's say final counter is equals to 0.obs. So instead of using final in this case, I'm just going to use var. Alright, then I'm going to create a function here. I'm going to call this increment. So you are looking at the basic Getx of. So we're going to do counter plus plus. So that is going to increment that for us. It's also like doing counter plus equals 1, something like this. Alright, so we just do plus plus instead. So save that. Now in our home, what we want to do is right here, we're going to do final to do controller. We're going to call this to do controller equals to get. So I want to install the get package. Alright, so let's go ahead and import the get package. So we're going to import package get.dat. Alright, so get.put. So what are we trying to put here? The to do controller. Alright, so once that is done now, right under this container here, I can have a size box that has a height of, let's say, 20. Then I can go have a text and say clicked how many times. So we're going to do controller dot counter. So this is how many times it has been clicked. So let's go ahead and wrap this like this. Okay, so let's save this and see. So you see we have clicked 0 times. So let's add times here. So click 0 times, and we want to go ahead and increment it by adding a button. So let's go ahead and copy this also. Is this? We're going to have a button, and we can basically just have a text button. Actually, a text button. We're going to have a text that says click me. Alright, good. So we have click me. So what I want to do is once it is clicked on, I want to do to do controller dot increment. Sorry, to do increment dot to do controller dot increment. Now if you should go ahead and click on click me, we see that we have nothing happening. The reason why we have nothing happening is because we need to wrap what we want to update in an OBX of sorts. So we are going to wrap we're going to wrap this text button in an OBX. So let's go ahead and wrap this let's go ahead and wrap this in a builder. So let's go ahead and wrap this in a stream builder. Then I'm going to change this to an OBX. Once this is changed to an OBX, delete this, and we can also delete all this. I will return that. So save that, and now you see I have an error here that says improper use of Getx. So let's go ahead and auto restart. Alright, so basically I think I figured out the error. The error was actually saying incorrect use of Getx in a place. So I think we can reverse that and just do, let's wrap this here. So I'm just going to add the command here so I can read this very well. So I have this here, then I'm going to basically stream builder, then I'm going to do obx, then I'm going to delete this just like we did recently, and I'm also going to do this. So basically I just want you to have a little understanding on Getx. So if you click on this, you can see we have a simple increment. All right, so since with that out of the way, let's just get started with the main stuff. So let's get and delete all this. All right, amazing. So now what we can do is head over to our controller. We can basically just delete everything here. And first we want to go ahead and have is a method that fetches all our posts for us. So let's go to our PHP. Let's make sure our server is running here. All right, so our server is running here. The first one to do is we want to change our URL. So we will come back to that actually. So before that, let's go to our post URL and let's go to minimize this. Let's send this and let's see the type of response that we actually get. So the response I want to deal with here is that we are going to create a model for. So that's what we're going to while that is loading, to create a model, we're going to head over to app.quicktime.io. So basically this is what I use to generate my model ASAP. I'm just going to copy all this and I'm going to paste this here. And yep, so basically that is what we have. You can just go ahead and copy code. All right, go. Not here, we're going to head over to the second part. So you can save this in our model here. Then we can name this todo model.dat. Then go ahead and paste that. And basically we just need to refactor this a little bit. So I'm going to make this nullable. And I'm going to add the bang here. Right, so save that and we have our model now. So now to do controller here, the first one to have is the feature, let's say get or to do async. All right, so while this is there, we want to head over to our lib and we're going to create a file called constant.dat. This is constant that is going to just hold our URL. So we'll say constant string URL is going to equals to. So this particular URL here, to make use of it, we are going to not use the URL that is given to us from this place. So we have to actually change it. All right, so for that particular part, what I do is I look at this particular GitHub, this Stack Overflow. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. So what we want to do, you want to host your project in your API. So I'm going to go to my Visual Studio Code first. I'm going to kill this server. And we're going to first do I believe we're going to do, if I do ifig config or IP config actually. All right, you can see I have my API address here basically. Then once that is done, I can just copy this. So I can basically just copy all this and I can paste it right here. And also we have to just replace the IP address. So this is going to be 213.195. If you don't do this, you're going to have an error connecting the Flutter to your Laravel because they both share the same ports on the same local network. So we're going to run this like that, and hopefully this should work. And see it has served our project. So if I should copy this and I head over to my postman, then I replace this with it. Let's click on send. You can see we get the same thing. All right, so that is working fine. So what I want to do is copy all this. Now go back to constant, and I'm going to paste that right there, and I'm going to do API /. All right, so this is our string URL. So before we do that, I can have constring, and I'm going to do URI.parse. So I want to do that from here. All right, good. Then I have an error that says cluster variable count. Okay, let's make it var. All right, good. So once that is done now, what we can do is we can go ahead and have a try and catch error. So try and catch block, I mean, we're going to do print e.toString. Right, so once that is there, we're going to do var request So let's just do response actually. Let's do response equals to await. So what are we trying to await? We're trying to await HTTP. So we need to import HTTP. We're going to do import package HTTP dot as HTTP. We're going to do await HTTP dot, sorry, not dot actually, HTTP dot get. Then it's going to pass in the URL. Can I import the URL? URL. So let's try and import the URL ourselves. So we're going to do import constant package to do app constant.dat. Right, so we have our URL here, and we're going to just link it together. So we're going to do URL and at the top here we can have const string. So we can have constant of string to do's URL. So we're going to give it the path. So the path of it is to do's here. All right, so give that. All right, then we're just going to pass it also here to do's URL, and we have an error. So it says the argument string about some parameters of URL. So let's remove this string and let's just do var. We have an error. Remove this. Sorry, remove this. Whoa, trying to figure out what is happening actually. I should put this like this. The argument type string can be assigned to the parameter to the type URI. Alright, so I just figured out something now. Basically, let's remove it because this URL pass here is something we can just fix from this page. So we can call this to do's URL initially, then we can just point to this URL here. Then we can basically just call this here to do's URL. So right, this is actually better. Then we want to have an header. We're going to pass an header actually. So this header is going to be accept application /json, and yep, so basically that is everything that we need. All right, so basically what we want to do now is if response dot status code is equals to 200. So if it is 200, what we want to do is let's just print out the response. So we're going to do json dot, let's import json dot decode. So we are going to decode response dot body. All right, and the same thing you're going to have for the else. All right, so save that, and yeah, we can go ahead and test this. So in our own .dat here, remember that we have the stuff already, so we just need to call it. So what I'm going to do is now to do controller here at the top here, I'm going to do on init. So on init is like basically init states, the normal init state. So but I'm just going to call it here. So right here I'm just going to do get all to do's. All right, so save this, and let's try and restart. Let's see if we'll get anything in the debug console. Nice, you can see we have our data being shown. So we have everything that we needed here. So what I want to do now is now render them out. So to render them out, what I want to do is, okay, so to render them out, what I'm going to do is basically I'm first going to, I'm trying to reason what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to wrap this container. I'm going to wrap it with the stream builder. So basically, and I'm going to wrap this with an OBX. Then I'm going to change this, and I'm going to just delete all this. So we have returned that, and basically we don't need this again. All right, so we don't need all that again. Then, so before we do anything now, basically we are going to have an error view save. Yep. Before we do anything, there's something I want to fix so that we know it is loading. So we're going to do rx bool. The rx bool is going to be loading. Loading is equals to force.obs. All right, good. So right here we're going to do loading dot equals to true. All right, then right here we're going to make it false. Same thing right here is going to be false. And you know what, let's just add it right here also to making it false. All right, so save that, and yep. Now in our home dat, what we want to do is basically right here we're not going to do if to do controller dot loading dot value. So basically if it is true, we're going to do center child. So what child do we need? We want to have circular progress bar, progress indicator, I mean, sorry. And basically that's what we need. So we can add constant here. I can just do this like this. So save this, let's restart. Okay, so let's restart, reload. So we have just one data actually showing on the screen. Okay, so I think what we are going to do is wrap this in a list view. So let's wrap this in a list view. So you know what, let me just cut this out. It's all list view. So let's do list view dot builder. So we're going to do list view dot builder. So this builder is going to take in the context and the index. All right, and basically we're just going to return what we copied, and we have an error here. So basically this error is expected to find this. Okay, good. And once that is done, I will have an error. So let's first do shrink wrap to be true, and let's get and do item count. Item count now, we don't have any item count, so let's just make this 3 for now. Save that, and okay, so you can see this is showing in 3 places. Let's go ahead and have a margin, and this margin we can basically use this also. All right, good. And what we now want to do now is in our to do controller here. Not this. Now to do controller here, we want to have a list of our data. So we're going to say rx list. So this list is going to receive our to do model. What did I call the model actually? I see it's called image model. So always make sure you name your model. I'm just going to open up my Chrome, head over back to this place. I'm going to name this to do model. Yeah, so basically always make sure you copy that. Let's just reset all this ASAP. All right, then right here we can just add the bang again. Good. So right here we can now go ahead and do to do model. Okay, then we can just close this, and basically that is not everything, because we need to still do something like, I believe something like this, trying to figure it out. All right, good. All right, so sorry about that. So what I want to do is, instead of this rx list here, I think you can just go ahead and do rx. Then inside the rx, you can have a list. Then inside of that list, then we can go ahead and have our to do model. Now you can go ahead and close that. All right, so exactly, then you can call this to do's So we can basically repeat what we have again. Rs list to do model. So this is model, I'm just going to give it an empty list. So basically it's going to be empty. And what we want to do, first thing I used to do and everything. So once the request is actually been posted, I want to make sure everything is cleared so you can get a new one. Yeah, clear. All right, good. And once that is done now, what we can do is in our this section here, we can cut that out. We don't want it to print again. So basically, we can just go ahead and do final content equals to json.decode. So what we're going to decode, we're going to decode response dot body, then we're going to grab to do's. Add the window that it is to do's. We're going to see that now. So the reason why we know that it is to do is because we could go to the postmark, you can see it is to do's that we have here. Good. So we want to have to do's, then we're going to do for item in content. So for item in content, we are now going to do to do's dot value dot add. What do we want to add? To do model dot from JSON. So from JSON, what do you want to add? Item. All right, so save this. Yep, we should be good to go. Now in our from the data where we have this item count, basically we can go ahead and do something like to do, then select to do's dot dot length dot value dot length. All right, so let's save this and let's restart this. So you can see it's spinning and we have our data now. So you have 3 data there. So basically we check it to have just 1, 2, 3. Very good. So what we want is working now. We just need to replace all this. So we can go ahead and call this to do controller dot to do's dot let's try dot value. Okay. To do's dot index actually. Sorry, I do miss this. Index dot I want to have text. Wait. Dot value. Sorry. It should can be assigned to the parameter. Let's use dot to string. So save this. As we have a low word learning Flutter and learning this. And this is going to be the same thing. And I can call this completed. This completed is an integer. I think we have to work with. Let's first try it out. So let's do int dot pass. And I think we have to fix our API response actually. So you know what? Let's just do something. So we can do if integer. Sorry. So if integer is equals to 1, we can say it is true. Else we can say it is false. I think this is okay. So we can say it is false. All right. So save this and we can check that out. Now you can see we have this. And also we can also do the same thing for this. So what we have here, we can copy this and we can basically just put it here. And instead of doing if completed this, the argument type can't be assigned to the parameter string. Okay, yeah. So we have to do if it is 1, we can say completed. Else we can say not done. Save that. You can see we have not done and completed here. So what I want to try and do now is use stream builder so we can get the data automatically, like without refreshing. Like we get data as soon as possible as the data gets into it. Right. So I was looking at the stream builder stuff, then I found out that for the stream builder, basically, I'm just going to drag it here. As you can see, if you do the stream builder, we use the OBX. All right. So let's just keep that pattern. We work with the one that we have right now. All right, so what I want to now do is physics. I'll say always callable physics. All right, so we should be able to scroll. I'm trying to figure out why I'm not scrolling. Okay, no, let's just give it never scrollable physics. I think I know why we're not scrolling. So let's do never scrollable physics. All right, so you can see we are scrolling now. So the reason why we're not scrolling before is because at the top here, I went ahead and added single child scroll view to our container here. All right, so you can go ahead and do that. So once that is now done, what we want to do now is basically when you click on this, so we want to change the value. So what I want to do is first of all, I want to print the value. All right, so once you click on that, I want to first print the value and see what we have. I should click on this. I have false. Okay, this is true and this is false. All right, so what we're now going to do is okay, so what we are going to do is for the update. So for the update here, our URL is basically trying to figure out how we're going to do it. So our URL is basically to do then ID. All right, so meaning in our to do controller, we can basically just get on. Okay, we don't need to copy this. We can basically just get and do future update to do. We're going to accept an ID. Async. Yeah, for this async here, we're just going to do the try and catch. We're going to do print e dot to string. All right, so once that is done now, what we can do is now var request is equals to await http dot post. So we want to post to the update model. So to update model here, we are going to just copy this. We're going to do update model. No, update to do, sorry. And this one is going to take in to do's then ID. All right, so we're going to pass into do's and ID, and basically I can go ahead and do what am I supposed to do here? Sorry, I'm looking for the constant test. So I'm going to like, let's say ID, quick fix. Then we have an error because basically we don't have an ID in this case, so we have to specify the ID. So to do this, initially, what we are going to do is for this update to do here, I think what the best thing I can just do is just cut it out of it because I don't actually know I'm going to. I'm going to pass that, so I'm just going to do that. Paste that here, then we'll have ID. Then next we need is an header, so we can basically just copy this header. All right, so we're going to pass this header, and we also need to pass our text. So our text is now going to be body. It's going to be text. All right, so we're going to do if request. Let's check it out. If it is 201, so it is 200 actually. So if request dot status code equals to 200, let's just print updated. Else we're going to print the error. So basically this. Okay, and this is going to be request. Okay, so I'm looking at what I'm going to do. Jara pass. If you have an error here, I actually don't know how I have this error in this place. Dynamic ID. Is that where I have the error? Yes, okay. Sorry, this is where I have the error here. So we're going to do request. Now is the undefined. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why it is undefined at first. Oh, is it inside the catch? No. Else. It's supposed to be here. Alright, very good. What we are going to do now is in our home now. So this is going to be an async kind of store. Then we're going to do to do controller dot update to do. So this update to do, you're going to pass in our ID. So our ID here is going to be basically this one. Then instead, what did I just do? So instead it's going to be dot ID. Then our text is just going to be the text that is there. Okay. Then we can do like once it is done, we can go ahead and call to do controller dot get all to do's. Alright, so we're open bring my emulator here and let's restart. Okay, so let's wait for this to alright, it's working now. So let's go ahead and like uncheck this. And you see we have the text field is required. So the text field is required, but we passed the text field actually. So we have to do controller dot text, which is the second one that we're passing here. I should do json.encode text. Then I try that again. Okay. So alright, so we are still having text field is required. I'll wait. So let's just restart again and see what we have. And let's click on this place. So we have text field is required actually. Okay, that is weird. No, I'm just going to click. I'll just have a random text here. Then I'm going to test it again. Did it work? Test it again. So hello world So let's try all the to-dos. Let's get all of them. Let's send a get request here. So the completed is one. If I should click on this and I send, so it does not send down the stuff. Oh yeah, we are still having the text field is required. Why? Alright, so before that, I believe let's first go to our to do controller here. Then let's do something like if sorry, not if actually. Let's do something like to do. So if the to do completed is equals to 1, they want to save 0, else we're going to save 1. Alright, I think this is okay. This is okay. So let's first try in the postman. And let's see. So let's do post. Then we're going to update the number 6. Okay, and it is 1 by default, so we're going to send it to 0. We're going to click send. You can see we have true now. I should get this send, and we have 0. Whenever I try and change it back to 1, right, it's working now. So meaning what we are going to trying to figure out here is basically this 1 is not needed. If I should send this again, true, send this true. All right, then right here, let's just restart this. Okay, so let's actually start down like that. So let's go ahead and click on this. We are still having text space is required. Why? Right, you know what? Basically, we are trying to update, so we don't need to like confirm if the text space is required or so. So what we're going to do is just comment that, and we're going to come to this request. So we're going to do if this is not empty. So basically, we're going to do if it is empty. So if this is empty, so basically just save it with the same stuff that is available, else save it with this. All right, I think that's fair enough. Then we should go there and uncheck those, and I click send. Now we have an error that says text field is required. All right, yeah, basically we have to go to the to do requests here. Let's just remove this. Let's change this to requests. Okay, so save that, and we should go back there, and I click send. You can see it works now. If I should go to get, and I just get all the results, our data is still there. All right, so what we now want to go ahead and do is go to our Visual Studio Code, open up our emulator again. Let's restart this. All right, so this is unchecked, so let's check this. Like I see, it's working now, updated. Very nice. So once this part is done already, so the part that I want to work on is sending a post request. So basically it's just like this. We're just going to copy this, paste this right there, then we're going to check the API. So the API is to do's. All right, so we're just going to do to do, and we don't need this. We don't need the text, then we don't need this also. And I believe this can be basically the to do URL. Okay, now we want to have these, and basically this is going to be what response are we getting from here, which is the 201 response. So we're going to have 201 response, and say added. All right, very good. So now in our home, so what we're going to do is on our save button here, which is this, we are going to wrap look what we're going to wrap. So let's wrap this elevator button with stream builder. First delete this, delete all this. Okay, then we're going to delete all this, and also we're going to delete, change this to obx. And basically we can just call the unpressed here. So this unpressed is going to be to do controller dot add to do. So this to do is going to accept a controller, so we have to create our controller at the top. So meaning we have to do final text editing controller. So I'm just going to call this controller equals to text editing controller. I can do dispose. Okay, we can't do with this, but this now is stateful widget. So in our text field, we're going to have a controller. A controller equals to controller. Then here we're just going to have the controller dot text dot. Then I'm going to trim it dot trim. Right, so let's save that, and we're having proper use of the widgets, just like I expected. Let's restart. So yeah, we're going to do let me see, do we have, okay, so let's do loading dot value is equals to true. Okay, we're going to paste it here, sorry, paste it here. Then here we're just going to select all of them and set it to false. Then here we're going to do something like if the to-do controller dot loading is true, value is actually true, we're going to have a circular progress indicator. Also have it, and once this is done, actually we are going to call get to do controller dot get or to do. So save that, and should be good to go. Let's say new data, click on save, and we have an error that says the text field is required. Why am I having the text field is required? All right, so let's try this fix. So in this place, I'm just going to do required string text. Right then, yeah, and I'm going to now like basically copy this. I'm going to come here and I'm going to do wait, what am I going to do here? I'm going to have text equals to that, and hopefully it should work. So let's make this async here, and let's auto restart. Good. So let's make good, and let's click save. We are still having text field is required. Actually, don't know what I'm doing wrong in this case. Body. So let's try something like var data is equals to text data. So let's just call this text data to differentiate. All right. Oh, I think I know what the issue is actually. Do I have to pass a string there? Data. I think that is the issue actually, but we'll have to check that, confirm that ourselves. Then we have to do, which is going to be text data, and let's auto restart. If that is the issue, then I've been doing rubbish since morning. Let's go ahead and do data, and let's click save. All right, we have an error that says integrity constraint column completed cannot be none. All right, so let's fix that in our API. So you can see it's working now. Basically, I was on the mistake. So this completed also is just basically going to be like this. Oh no, it's not going to be like that. So it's going to be basically 0 by default. So let's just give it 0. All right, let's go back to our Visual Studio Code and let's auto restart this. New data, then let's click save. We have added here, as you can see, but our response is not coming back. Why? So let's just auto restart this. You can see we have new data there. Mark it is completed, on mark is also there. So let's try and see if we can fix this issue of not returning data. So let's return save. All right, so this is weird actually. All right, so basically I think the only thing needed is just to add async, then made this awake, then it should work. So if I should go ahead and head over here and do add extra data and save, you see the extra data here. One last thing that we need to do is just that same controller, we're going to clear it. All right, so this is the last part. So let's just subscribe and like. So make sure you subscribe and like, and make sure it is completed. So see you next time. Peace.